With the engine away at Classic Engine Workshop, I've got these aluminium parts to get ready to put back onto it. This intake manifold I've shown before, so this has been vapor blasted, but it's got this top surface here, so one of the most visible parts that needs polishing. And then because the cylinder head isn't the original one from the car, I've sourced these original look, much more smooth cam covers. So the ribbed ones that were fitted to the later head, we want to go for a more period and original look. This one's obviously been polished at some point, but there are a few scratches along it. This one has been through the vapor blaster to get the worst of the muck off, both inside and out. The cap here really does need replacing because the knurling on the edges has really been both damaged and polished off far too much. If I look down it, you can see it's nice and flat in both cases, because obviously that could be an issue. They can go a bit banana shaped over time. So it's obviously important to check when you get in second-hand parts that they look as though they're going to seal, because the last thing I want to do is refit these and become a source of leaks. And then we've got the thermostat housing here. So a small part, but quite fiddly. A bit of corrosion around the spigots, but the visible parts should polish up nicely. I've got a polishing kit to go on a 3-phase polisher that I've got next door. I haven't used it. I find it a pretty scary machine, so let's see how that goes. I was fortunate enough to pick up this big old 3-phase pedestal grinder for free, with a sanding drum at one end and an old polishing mop at the other. I was pleased to find out it worked recently when I fitted a new plug. I bought a kit with 3 8-inch mops and polish. I'm going to see how I get on with this, just getting a feel for it at first. You can see quite quickly that there's some scratches and scuffs here that aren't just going to polish out. And there's another one in the middle here that isn't too great. So I'm going to get a bit of wet and dry on these, maybe a bit of 400 grit and then move up to 1000 and see how I get on. I'm going to use this spongy sanding pad at first. It's got a coarser grit on one side and less on the other. I'm not sure what grit it is, but it looks as though this should do the job. With some 400 grit in here. The thickness of the aluminium casting means you can get rid of quite significant damage without too many problems. It's just a fair bit of work, and what I found was the more I did, the more I then noticed something else that needed work. So I started working along the whole thing. So, after a fair bit of sanding, I've now got something that's, in my estimation, worth starting to polish. The damage in the centre of the cam cover though was a lot deeper. I had a go by hand, but then realised it was probably worth giving the drum on the end of the grinder a go. Of course the key thing is to not take a big valley out of the cam cover, because of course it would show when it's highly polished. So I worked around the area, just taking a small amount off at a time. I'm sure it's possible to pay someone a lot of money to do this for you. So really what I'm doing at this stage is just getting a feel for this first polishing mop, and then I'm going to go to a finer version and then the finer version still to see how far I can get. At this stage it's just getting a feel for the equipment and how much I need to work the aluminium. Probably a bit early for the second stage mop at this point, but I just want to see for the bit that I've sanded down where the sprocket goes on the cam cover, how good a finish I can get by going through this second and third stage. Now on to the third stage, and I'm starting to feel a bit more comfortable with the machine. It's not scaring me quite as much as it did, but obviously I still need to treat it with lots of respect. Obviously this machine is only suitable for flat surfaces as well. All of the detail areas I'll either have to do with a drill mounted or possibly a Dremel mounted polishing kit. To have gone from this scratched and damaged and tired old looking part to this much shinier finish is very satisfying. But I know there's a lot more to do. I need to do it on all of the parts consistently. And of course, do I go chasing the mirror finish all round as well? Please let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Please join me next time when I continue with the polishing and start restoring the fiberglass parts.